welcome to ESO Weekly here on the ShoddyCast channel. I am Kyle, and with me, as always, my dear darling brother Josh.
Dremulok, greetings, ShoddyCast.
What he said. So we're only 64 days away from ESO. We're, what is that, like 9 weeks, or 2 months in a week, or 1,536 hours?
Too many days.
However you want to think of it.
Whatever way you cut it, it's too much.
It's getting closer. It's getting closer. Anyways, this week we will be covering a whole bunch of freaking topics that have happened. The ruling on PlayStation Plus and whether or not we'll need that. The dev play session, the ESO new rating of mature, the voice casting, and also there is a Paul Sage Q&A on Tamriel Foundry. A few of these things we're just kind of glance over because we've already talked about it in a previous show. But anyways, let us get into it. Starting off with PlayStation Plus and ESO. There was this article that was on the PlayStation blog. It's also posted on the Facebook of ESO. And the big news here is that PlayStation Plus will not be required for ESO.
Yay, and a few people go wild.
Yes, the few that are actually playing it on PS4. So congrats to you guys.
That's not what I was saying, but thanks. Now they can channel their hate towards me. Yeah, but that's great. That's nice, and something I did not think they were going to get. We had heard a couple months ago, ZeniMax Online, when they announced the subscription model, people were complaining, oh man, I got to pay for my PlayStation Plus now on top of a subscription, which is going to be, what? Subscription $15 a month. PlayStation Plus, I think that's $5 a month, right? So $20 a month just to play the Elder Scrolls Online. And so that was a big concern, and ZeniMax said that they would do everything that they could to negotiate a sort of deal with the PlayStation people, so where, you wouldn't have to have PlayStation Plus in order to utilize the Elder Scrolls Online and play it. And they did, in fact, keep to their word, and they did work out a deal with them, so that's very cool. I wonder what they had to sell to get that deal. I hope nobody was hurt in the process, but it's definitely much appreciated, and I'm sure the PlayStation people will be happy to hear, at least a couple of them. I don't know. I'm assuming if you have a PlayStation 4, you probably have PlayStation Plus, but whatever.
Just like on the PC, there will be both a European and a North American server for PlayStation. Right. We're assuming that's going to be the same case for Xbox as well. There's no details on the controller layout yet, but they added, "We're very happy with the gameplay experience on PlayStation 4. The abilities are conveniently accessible for fun on the couch." Oh wait, that's weird. For fun on the couch gameplay. There we go. And the team is really happy with how it's coming along.
Yeah, okay. So also, basically they're working on it.
Yeah, and also they said they're looking into incorporating the touchpad into the gameplay.
Yeah.
My guess is they're probably going to do something with like potions. Potions will probably be that.
Absolutely not. You know what it's going to be? It's going to be if I want to slash my sword to the right, I use the touchpad and I slash to the right.
Yeah, I very much doubt that because that's not even on PC.
And then on the Xbox One, it's going to be Connect enabled. So
you're going to
be able to run around.
Then it'll just be broken.
Cast and throw your hands around. It's going to be awesome.
No, don't do that. And they also said that there would be plenty of hard drive space for the current game and years of post-release content. And that's pretty much all that post had. But that's definitely awesome about the whole PlayStation Plus not being required. Now, this past week, we had a bunch of information. There was that dev play session thing where they conquered an overworld boss. They also destroyed a Dark Anchor. There was also the ESO receives an M rating and the celebrity voice actors.
Basically a bunch of big news that released right after we released the episode last week. So now we get to talk about it here.
Yeah, we're going to do kind of just a recap because we have a lot of news to get through. And also a lot of this can be found on the 2.5 hour long ESO Alliance we also have on the channel if you haven't watched that. But yeah, we'll just go through these anyways. So is there anything interesting you saw in the dev play session that you might want to bring up?
The dev play session, really the highlight for me was how gorgeous the game was looking. Mm-hmm. It's no secret now that Kyle and I here have been in the beta and stuff, and we can easily say that it has progressed, first of all, visually, just alone, you know. Now with the first person and all that, obviously we've seen gameplay of that already. But it's a gorgeous looking game, no doubt about that. But beyond that, the actual group dynamic and the group gameplay, I think, looked very, very cool. And that's because we know in this MMO we're going to have what's called the Holy Trinity. And for those who aren't familiar with MMOs, that includes a tank, a healer, and a DPS. A damage dealer, person to heal the group, and then the person to draw all the monsters to them. Now, even though we're going to have that Holy Trinity in this game, from this group gameplay we're seeing, everyone still has to hold their own. Meaning, you can't be the guy in the back all the time just casting spells. No, monsters are going to come at you too, even if you have a tank in your group, which is nice. Everyone has to remain aware and just aware of their surroundings in general, which is fun and adds that extra layer of engagement that I saw in this video, and I very much appreciated that.
Yeah, you're no longer a warlock in World of Warcraft face rolling and getting the highest DPS numbers and stuff. Because if you were to do that, you would pull so much aggro, you would be dead. So you have to like be conscious of what's going around you. And plus, you can't really do that because this game isn't at all about damage numbers. That's not what it's about. It's about situational awareness and knowing what skills to use in what specific situations.
Absolutely. I think you nailed it on the head when you used the word face roll. That's a big problem with MMOs nowadays. People, it's this big joke. Oh, my character's so good or whatever, or my role is so defined that I could literally roll my head on my keyboard and things would end up dying. And the fact that, no, in ESO, you're seeing this amount. I mean, you have to dodge roll and stuff out of the way of certain attacks, and you have interrupt bash abilities and things like that. It's all about situational awareness and strategy rather than how much DPS can my character produce in any given minute.
Okay, and the only other thing I want to bring up about it is, and I didn't even realize this, but there was no melee combat in that video. Like, none of those 3 players were using melee weapons.
Yeah, that's right. Even the Dragon Knight was using a staff.
Yeah. And Paul Sage commented on that, and he was saying that, like, they didn't leave it out on purpose or anything. They just, they chose a playstyle they wanted to play with, and then they grouped together, and they all just happened to be ranged damage dealers.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't on purpose or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had the conch on the cast before, and I can't remember if it was included in the actual episode, but we actually talked to Nick Conkle about what his favorite class was to play, and he has always been a big into the Dragon Knight dual-wielding a fire staff type build. And so he's a Dragon Knight, full heavy armor in that video, wielding a fire staff, essentially playing a battle mage type character, and it's working out very, very well. Now, my one question to you, Kyle, is this. If all the developers are choosing ranged classes to play in this gameplay, and like that's their class of choice, is that the better playstyle in the game? Is it better to be a ranged character in ESO than a melee character?
Well, I can tell you in past experiences, MMOs have always favored ranged characters because the melee characters always have to get into the fray, you know, so they're already taking more damage being closer to the monster. Not to mention the time it takes to get there is a loss of DPS. So the ranged characters can start DPSing a lot sooner because they don't have to be as close to the monster to do it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's just...
Yeah, that said, if you're looking to play melee in this game, don't let this discourage you at all. There'll always be roles for melee classes, no doubt about it.
If anything, I'll just tell you this. In my experience with ESO, I've started off as a ranged character. I'm like, oh, I'm going to play a ranged character. And this goes also with Skyrim, too. I'm like, oh, I'm going to play a ranged character, magic and stuff. I always end up playing melee for some reason, because I always want to be in the face of the monster, beating it down. Not to mention, I feel more feedback as a melee character in this game.
You like to see the life drain from your enemy's eyes as you're extinguishing them for all time.
It's like they're there in your face as you're swinging your sword or whatever you're using, and you just, with ESO and how they're, you know, the weapon, viscosity, whatever else, they actually show how they're getting hit based on what you're doing. So it feels more visceral being a melee character.
Just feels right.
Yes.
Yeah. The nice thing is you don't even have to choose in this game. We have dual weapon sets. You could start the battle with using a fire staff or whatever, and then mid-battle switch to your melee set. So if you want to do melee, do it, man. Do it. Go for it. There should be nothing stopping you.
All right, let's talk about voice actors next. So if you didn't know, you can go on ElderScrollsOnline.com and you'll see that they have a list of the celebrity voice actors that they have gotten.
Kate Beckinsale, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Oh, Queen. Oh, yes.
Yes, and we had a huge discussion on this on ESO Alliance, so I really don't want to go to it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a lot of, big name celebrities there, and the question came up, it's like, could the money that was put into this maybe be put into something else instead that, maybe would have made more sense? But it's like, who cares, because it's done, it's in the game. If anything, to me, it was more of just like a marketing ploy, because now they can put that on the box. It's like, we have all these people in this game.
What they should is actually put Kate on the box.
Right?
Her picture as
the
queen.
queen.
As the queen, yeah. There you go. Now that would sell more copies.
Though I personally think they did pick the wrong Kate. I thought instead of Kate Beckinsale, they should have picked Kate Blanchett, because she's the one in Lord of the Rings as that one elf chick with the deep, mystical voice. I just thought her voice would have been more unique than Kate Beckinsale's. Because if you were to play Kate Beckinsale's with two other voices, I wouldn't have been able to pick which one of her is out of that.
Yeah.
Would you?
Not as distinctive.
Yeah.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Whereas Blanchett's, I would know, just because she has that very... I don't even know how to... Elven. Just go with Elven. She's played an elf before.
Magical.
If anyone should play an elf, it should be her.
Sure, I understand it. So yeah, if you guys want to hear more about our discussion and our thoughts on all the voice actors and stuff, definitely tune in. We had it's called ESO Alliance. It's this show where we got together with the folks over at Elder Scrolls Off the Record and Andrew from Tamriel Foundry. We did that on Friday, and we did it as a live stream event. We had developers in the chat actually chatting alongside you guys and stuff. It was a lot of fun. But if you missed out on all the epicness, we do have it on the channel here. So go check that out. It is 2 hours and 30 minutes long, so probably not something you're going to digest all at once.
But we do have annotations in it, so you can skip to particular points that you're interested in.
Yeah, so I guess we'll link that for the people in an annotation here on this video or somewhere.
And the final thing on this recap was the M rating that ESO received. And you'll be seeing this, like there's age gates now for their website. So the first time you log into their website now, you'll have to put in your birthday. Even like the content on their YouTube channel now, you have to be 18 or older or whatever. Or how do they do that?
On the websites and stuff, you just have to enter in your date of birth, right?
Does that include YouTube too, or is that like linked
on
to
YouTube,
your Google or something?
On YouTube, I think you have to have an account on YouTube that says you're 18 years or older. Yeah, so it's tough. It adds in all these complications, but I can't say how excited I am that this game is rated M. When I saw that on their Facebook page, and their actual announcement was very nice. It was the ESRB, the guys who give all the ratings out for video games. In North America. They said that this game is going to be rated M. And that's not what ZeniMax Online was shooting for. ZeniMax was shooting for a teen rating. And what they could have done at that moment was either go back in the game and actually change a bunch of stuff to make it a teen rating, or they could just say, screw it, ESRB, fine, you're going to rate our game M, then rate it M, and we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And lucky for us, ZeniMax Online chose the latter. So they said, fine, it's an M rating. We don't want to sacrifice our creative vision any more than we have to. So that's just what it is. And so they've embraced it. Now ZeniMax has an M rating for the Elder Scrolls Online. And what does that mean? I don't know. It means, if anything, it means more creative freedom for the developers moving forward. Because before, yes, they were shooting for a teen rating. We had kind of... Maybe if they wanted to use a sort of bloody, gory scene in this one quest, they couldn't. Well, now they can, right? So with an M rating, it just takes off. Picture ZeniMax Online Studios in their striped uniforms and with the ball and chain on their legs like a bunch of prisoners. Well, that chain has now been broken, and they're free to do what content creators should have always been able to do, and that's be creative and have the freedom to do that.
Yeah, so now like when you sacrifice someone for some Daedric prince, instead of just having magic flowing out of them as their souls go, and you might see blood spraying out from them or something like that. I think you may also see like environmental effects added that just make it look more gross or gloomy or something. be it skeletons and body limbs hanging around. All I know is Dark Brotherhood better be even more kick-ass than it was going to be.
Yes. So this actually makes me excited for the fact, and I'm actually happy now, that the Dark Brotherhood was not put in at launch. Because if the Dark Brotherhood was already created and put in at launch, we would have a teen-rated Dark Brotherhood, a watered-down Dark Brotherhood, which is no Dark Brotherhood of mine. My Dark Brotherhood is a rated M Dark Brotherhood with severed heads and sacrificial rituals and stuff like that. So what we're going to get now, hopefully, is the Dark Brotherhood post-launch that is the Dark Brotherhood we should have gotten. The rated M Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah. And so that was it for the post recap thingy. So let us go into this Paul Sage Q&A that was over at Tamriel Foundry. I believe it was just this past Saturday. So a bunch of people were able to put in their questions, and Paul Sage answered them.
Dude, that's half of this podcast is just getting words wrong.
Right. So we'll just go over some of the top tidbits we found interesting, and if you wanted to read all of them, you would want to head over back to Tamriel Foundry and read the huge forum post they had about this. Alright, so the first thing, let's see. Currently, there is an XP bonus when you're just grouping with other people.
Wow.
So he didn't say anything about these ring things like talked about before. You remember those rings?
Oh yes, like a friendship ring. If you and your friend are there, you can wear these rings and you'll level a bunch faster.
Yeah,
right?
He didn't even mention this. He just said if you're actually in group with other people, you'll gain an XP bonus for doing that.
Okay, now is this XP bonus like, man, I'll level faster now because I'm getting this XP bonus? Or is this XP bonus just compensating for like splitting XP over a kill or something like that?
I don't know. He didn't specify. He just said that you would get an XP bonus for grouping with other people.
Okay, because yeah, I mean, that's the way I read it. The way I read it is, wow, you want to group with people as much as you can in this game because you're going to level faster because of that. It
could be extra, XP from just killing monsters. It could be from, that and exploration and everything else. I don't know how they're going to be doing that.
Wow.
He just said there was going to be an XP bonus.
So don't go solo, people. Find a friend.
All right. Currently, when you're in a guild, and it's cross-faction, so all three factions are in there. Right now, if you're like on the Aldmeri Dominion side, you couldn't group up with someone from the Daggerfall Covenant side and then do an instance together.
Why would I want to group with those motherless bastards?
Because one of them is your childhood friend you grew up with next door playing with each other because your house was on borders with them. I don't know. Whatever, shut up. So currently you can't do it, but this is something they say they definitely want to enable in the future. So hopefully we can look forward to removing that restriction, and at least when you're in an instance with other people, you're friends.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something that preferably we'd want at launch, but I guess they've written it off as, we'll have it, it's just not a priority at the moment.
Alright, now for you hunters in Skyrim, you might like this one. Deer and critters react to player proximity. So when you come up close to a deer or something, don't expect it to just stand there like a dumbass and be like, hi, no, you're not about to just one-shot me, are you? Are you? Damn it, don't do it, please. No, it's actually going to like run away from you. But you probably will kill it anyway.
That's good. A lot of MMOs don't have that. You could walk up on a deer and they don't care. But I know there's a lot of people that play their Skyrim or whatever as a hunter and gatherer, hunting them for their pelts and stuff. So now it actually makes sense to do that and is fun.
Indeed. Let's talk about dark anchors for a little bit. The mobs at each of these dark anchors will not always be the same mob. So if you were to defeat this dark anchor, it had just like a bunch of scamps and stuff. If you were to go back there, you probably wouldn't see just scamps there again. You might see a variation of different things or something. It's always going to be different mobs when you're fighting there because there's plenty of different types of Daedric mobs. And these dark anchors will actually scale in difficulty based on how many people are in your group. So if you have 4 people in your group and you're going to do this, you might see a lot more mobs there and it might be a little bit stronger as well. And generally, there's going to be 3 dark anchors per zone. So yeah, expect that. Except for Cyrodiil, we'll actually have more of them just because it's a bigger zone. And I am interested to seeing how that's going to happen in Cyrodiil, because you have 3 factions all fighting this war, and then all of a sudden they're going to be like, oh, look, there's a Dark Gate over there. Might as well do that. Maybe we'll get some extra loot or something. So you're an AD, you're walking over there, you're beating up on things, and all of a sudden DC, a whole group of DC are coming. And then you have an all-out war going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing they'll put the Dark Anchors. I'm expecting not to see a Dark Anchor fall like right in the middle of an ongoing PvP battle or anything like that. I bet they're set aside, probably out in the outskirts of the zone. I mean, Cyrodiil is a massive, massive zone with a lot of space.
Yeah. Now this is interesting. Once you complete a dungeon, a group dungeon, which would be instanced off, once you complete that comparable level dungeon also opens up on the other factions. So if you're in Aldmeri Dominion, you just did your level 10 dungeon, you've now opened up the other level 10 dungeons in both DC and Ebonheart Pact factions.
Right.
Which basically means you can just warp there and then do it with your group.
Okay. So my first reaction to this is cool, right? More content is cool. But I will say that this kind of rubs me the wrong way because it introduces an element that we've actually talked about before and not liking. And that's this whole idea that we can warp to places that we've never been. Like, we've never been, say I completed the level 10 dungeon in the Aldmeri Dominion, and suddenly on the other side of the world, this Ebonheart Pact dungeon is unlocked, and I can go do that dungeon. Well, I've never even been, like, say this dungeon, I don't know, is in Skyrim. I've never even been to Skyrim. Meanwhile, I can warp inside a dungeon within Skyrim. It's a very, very weird, and I think will be discombobulating for people, kind of out of the ordinary. They could go about this in a better way, like, I don't know, maybe some mage NPC tells you that you're desperately needed on the other side of the province or whatever.
Explain it somehow.
Yeah, explain it somehow with... Maybe that would make it better, but yeah, in its current state, at least from what he mentioned, that sounds really weird, teleporting to a place you've never actually journeyed to before or unlocked.
Yeah, because that was one of my compromises with way shrines. It's like, I'm fine with way shrines as long as you actually have to unlock them first.
Right,
and then you can travel within them as many times as you want,
Yeah.
That's fine for me. I guess this is just another one of those compromises. Like, yes, you can warp to this dungeon now because all of a sudden it's open to you, but you can't leave it and then start exploring the rest of that zone. You have to stay in that dungeon because if you leave it, then you're warped back to your territory.
Yeah.
So again, it's just one of those compromises because, it is an MMO. Now, this is a very interesting thing. The main quest line is... Sage said this is probably only going to be around 5 to 6 hours if you did all of them back to back, but you can't actually do that because these quests are split between multiple levels. So say you're level 4, you receive your main story quest that you can then do, but then you won't gain access to the next one until like maybe level 9, and that's just an example.
Yeah. So I don't know how many test players there are out there that like to actually, when they first get in the game, ignore everything else and do just the main quest line. Kyle's coughing because he's one of those people. But that is not going to be possible in this game in its current state.
No.
You can't just run through the main quest line.
Yeah, so don't just think, oh, well, I can be done with the whole main story in 5 to 6 hours. Hell no. All right. Now, this is kind of good. I'm looking forward to this. Someone asked about guild cloaks, if they're in the game and, if we can customize them and stuff like that. All Sage really had to say was stay tuned for more information on that.
What if he's just being a huge tease and there's nothing coming at all? Stay tuned, you suckers.
No, because Nick Conkle even said that they are expecting to do a DLC level patch on just guilds because they'd like to do them in themes, like he said.
Yeah.
So PvP theme and a guild theme. So we can probably say that there's going to be at some point either cloaks or capes or something with your colors, your guild colors or emblems or something.
Yeah, I've always liked to represent. I always liked World of Warcraft had the tabards.
Mm-hmm.
Guild Wars always did very good with their capes. Are very cool.
Even changed like the shape of the cape and stuff, which is really cool. Now, he said in another question, no, you won't be allowed to upload your own logo. And this is mainly just to keep those people from putting penises and boobs on their capes.
Because you knew that was going to happen. I mean, it's the internet, so that sort of thing will happen. But it does bum me out a little bit, because I would have liked to have, the good old SC ShoddyCast logo for the ShoddyCast Guild. But oh well.
Yeah, if anything, it'll be like other MMO-style things we've seen in Guild Wars, WoW, whatever. So you have a huge list of emblems, colors, designs, and all those things to make your own guild.
Yeah, I definitely have no problem with that.
Indeed. Now this is controversial.
Yes.
I know specifically for Josh.
Get ready. Oh, I'm stretching.
This is a quote by Sage about leveling, or just levels in general in this game. He says, ESO is more like Morrowind in its leveling with regards to monsters. Monsters and players have definite levels. ESO also has zones which are tuned to certain levels. These zones allow you to meet people around your level range and adventure together, or just let you know what you're getting into. Once you hit 50, that would be level 50, and venture into other alliances, which would be the 50 plus and 50 plus stuff.
Yes.
Levels doesn't mean as much, and you will be able to go from place to place without worrying about being overpowered or underpowered so much.
All right. So, what does this mean to the MMO player, and what does this mean to the test player? Well, the MMO player, nothing out of the ordinary here if you've played most MMOs. Most MMOs uses this system that we're talking about here, where you have multiple zones, and each zone is for a certain level tier is what we call them. So you might have one zone that's for level 5 to level 10 characters. Within that zone, you will find level 5 to level 10 monsters to defeat, and you'll find quests that are geared for level 5 to level 10 characters. So no matter how much you want to explore in a game or whatever, you're going to be constricted by what level you are, because you can only explore the zone that is for your level at that particular moment, or any past zones you've actually completed. My concern is for the player, like say I roll in the Aldmeri Dominion, right? And I create that character. Now, I want to have the choice where, like in Guild Wars 2, you could make a char and not necessarily level in the char leveling zone. You could go on to the, the Sylvari leveling zone or whatever. Now, I would love to be able to make an Aldmeri Dominion character and say, go level in Skyrim starting zone or something like that. Have the whole world open to you straight from the get-go, then have this sort of constricting thing over you that's like, no, wait till you get to level 50, and then once you hit level 50, finally, the whole world's open to you. You don't have to worry about levels. You can finally choose a direction and start exploring just like you know from your past test games. So I guess my question is, why wait till level 50 to do that? Well, because that's what Paul Sage said here in the article, right? It was, once you hit level 50, you can take a leveling zone however you want. You're no longer constricted by that.
Yeah, I guess my issue, you weren't explaining the fact that, that's why I want it to be challenging all around, because I'll go into the other factions' territories eventually. But then it doesn't matter at that point, though, because it'll all be the 50 plus veteran stuff anyway. So it will be challenging once you are able to go into the other factions' territory.
Yeah,
and it makes sense in the game. You'll find out, because he doesn't say why it'll make sense, because he doesn't want to give that away. But there is a reason why it makes sense at the end of your 1 through 50 that you can then go into these other territory zones, because you wouldn't be able to before, because you'll get your face killed because you're an enemy to them.
Right,
why would you be allowed to go there?
I see what you're saying.
So it makes sense that you are locked into your territory while you strengthen up enough to beat Molag Bal or whatever the story is. That's why you're trying to progress to level 50, is so you can get your soul back. That's the story, right?
Right.
That's what everyone knows. That's
right.
not NDA or anything. So, yeah, and then at that point, something happens that then enables you to go into these other territories.
Right, like you probably become an ambassador or something, or
something along those lines.
Happens.
I'm not going to say what it is. Something happens.
Oh, do you know?
Yes, I know.
Oh, you actually know.
I know what happens.
Okay.
So that's why they're doing this system. It makes total sense when you're playing the game.
Yeah.
When you have played it, when you have reached 50, all of a sudden, you're probably going to you're just going to be like, oh, that's why we cannot go into other zones, or why they didn't want us to. because it just makes sense the way they do
Yeah.
it. Trust ZeniMax. I know they're a new company and everything, but they're from other MMOs, so they have the experience here. I'm just saying, put trust in their decisions, because it will make sense.
Okay.
In the end.
Yes, and I definitely see what you're saying.
But according to going back to the starting zones, I agree. They should definitely have at least have an NPC, a captain or something that will take you to at least to the mainland. If you want to go to the main capital city or something and then
Right.
start wandering off, let people do that. Don't lock them into these small zones that you don't necessarily have to do, especially if you've done them before. Why would you want to have to do all this quests over again? Give them a boat, or at least make them have to do it maybe the first time because it's their first time going through. But once that they completed those starting zones on a character, don't make them do it again. Just let them get on the ship and go. At least if you want to compromise. But I say they should be able to go even on their first time.
Even on their first time,
Yeah.
right? Because you know what my concern boils down to, and I think the reason we're actually both really in agreement here is that test fan that's going to, because I want this game's going to be kick-ass for MMO players. Let me just say that right off the bat right now. If you've played MMOs and you're looking at this game as an MMO, this game is absolutely going to serve that extremely, extremely well, and it's a lot of fun. You're going to be won over day one on this game, no matter what. I'm concerned for my friends out there who I know have gone into the beta, and they haven't experienced the test game that they want. They love the first person and everything is looking good except this one thing, and that's the starter islands, just like you mentioned. They'll escape as a prisoner and then end up on this island where they have to complete a quest to move on. Could you imagine that in a test game, having to complete a quest? Say, sure, you get, after, what is it? In Skyrim, you're put into Helgen or whatever, right? When you escape Helgen.
Yeah.
And then you run onto Riverwood. Now, let's say that part of Skyrim.
You're stuck in Riverwood.
Yeah, say you're stuck in Riverwood until you complete a quest to move on to the next town. Now, that's how the Elder Scrolls Online is currently with their starter island. What they need to do is they need to open up that door, because what's going to happen, those test players are going to go in day one, escape as a prisoner, get on that island, and they're going to do what they normally do, which is a lot of test gamers. They're going to choose a direction, and they're going to just start running. And they're going to run and run, and what are they going to hit? They're going to hit the invisible wall. They're going to hit a body of water, and
It's not really a wall. You might drown or get eaten, but
right. But it is
technically not a wall.
It is it is a wall nonetheless.
But maybe that's why they chose islands, because it makes sense. Yeah, you can't get off until you you are granted passage to get off.
Yeah.
And they won't let you leave until you help them.
Right.
So I guess in lore, it does make sense for you to be stuck on this island. But
the logic makes sense,
yes,
right? The logic.
But technically, let people get off the island if they don't want to do it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what are we trying to do? This is a product. This is a product that needs to be marketed to both the MMO audience and the Elder Scrolls audience. You're not going to get the Elder Scrolls audience, at least not all of them, if you have a restriction where, I have to complete this quest before I can even see the next zone or even walk to it. Sure, let me walk to the zone and maybe get killed or murdered or whatever, but let me go there. Let me learn from my mistakes or whatever. If you're going to use the Morrowind system of leveled zones, okay, but let me get there, because there are wall tiers. And without breaking NDA, I don't want to go into it too much, but there's multiple starter islands. You complete that first starter island, and you get put in another zone where you have to complete a quest before you move on to the next one, because there are actual doors, locked doors, that you can't even step through until you've completed a main quest. So I guess my only thing would be that maybe ZeniMax actually look at that and give the players the option. We're responsible people. If we hit that zone that's too hard for us, I like to think that people would be smart enough to come back and do the easier content before moving on. But at least allow that option. At least allow it. Let us be... This game's rated M now. We're all adults, right? Let us do that. But yeah, that was my big thing about that.
Huge, long,
way too
20-minute long
long
conversation.
I think we did the same thing on ESO Alliance, and so now we have two long discussions.
Heated. All right, so that was it for that news and stuff. We are not going to be doing developer question of the week or questions from the audience, I'm afraid, just because of time. So we are going to be going into our sponsors of the week.
Sponsors of the week. We need to have a drop.
Is that
in.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, so one thing I just wanted to announce first is we do have a top 10 contributors list on our Become a Sponsor page. So if you'd like to, congratulate those guys, give them a pat on the back or something, or just ignore it because you really don't care. Either way is fine. So let's get into it. First one here is from, oh God, your name. Ingvi Vedigsvik.
Oh man, and something has happened to Ingvi. Yes, you are now shedding off the chains of Dovahkiin. Your acts on this plane of Nirn are so legendary, so epic, that they'll be told to their children and their children's children for generations to come. Yes, you are no longer Dovahkiin in the afterlife. No, you have ascended to godhood as Talos did before you. Henceforth, you will be known as the god of merciful forbearance, of might, and the patron of the Imperial Legions. Henceforth, you will be known as Stendar.
That was the longest thing ever.
It deserved
It
a
was
longer
good, though.
thing, though, right? Because it's a divine, it's Aedra, it's a big deal.
Oh man, that was almost as long as our discussion. All right. Few new donors here, actually quite a few guys. Alec Pomrink, there we go. Thank you. Abdulaziz, I don't know why I love that first name. Maybe because it like goes with songs or something.
got a lot of Z's in
Abdulaziz. Abdulaziz. No, I'm not gonna do it. Al-Saud is his last name. Thank you. Braden Placella, thank you. And here we go, Josh. David Collette.
David, you too have shut off the mortal constraints of this world. Your deeds and acts are so great, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wait, are you saying acts or acts?
No, not his acts. Like his acts isn't
Okay,
great.
his
like
acts.
his like the things he did
Okay.
in this
Awesome.
this
Sorry to
plane.
interrupt.
Okay, yeah. Your deeds are so great that you have ascended to godhood. That's right. In the afterlife, you are no longer a mortal puppet. No, you are Aedra. Henceforth, you will be known as the god of wisdom and logic, the Cyrodiilic god of literature, law, history, and contradiction. Henceforth, you will be known as Julianos. In case you didn't catch that, it's Julianos.
Oh, man.
It's Julianos.
Oh, wow. I'm not surprised that the test universe has a god of contradiction because there's so much contradiction in their lore
Yeah.
based on perspective.
They have a whole god for it.
Yeah.
There's so much.
It makes total sense. All right, a bunch of new donors here. We have Matthew Hickman. Hello.
Thank you.
Kayan Noble. Velocity Lee, which has to be like a stage name or something. That or you have like awesome parents that call you Velocity.
That is really cool.
Or maybe they're physicists or something, so they're not cool. They're just nerds. Anyways, Brian Todd, also thank you. Hamish Moore returns, and he says, hello, Shoddy, and says the release of Elder Scrolls Online gets closer. Keeping track with the ShoddyCast clock. Joining a guild should be on your mind right now. Ours, for example, is a lore-friendly Ebonheart-packed RP guild for both the experienced and novice role players. We plan on doing PvE and PvP, but are mostly focused on creating a strong, knit community of like-minded players. So whether you decide to join our guild or find your place somewhere else, I wish you the best of luck and hope you enjoy what is surely going to be an amazing and unique experience. You can find us at thecultoftheoldways.freeforums.org. P.S. Remember the Chalamo.
Never forget.
Philip Knowlton, hello. He says, Travelers, explore the world of Tamriel, for the riches lie within. Let the wind sing you a song, the sun be your warmth, and the moon guide you at night.
Sing you a song on the piano, man.
Oh, Jesus.
Sing us a song.
We are the Loyals to Tamriel. You can visit them at their website at loyals2tamriel.engine.com, and they are for PS4. Gregory Stringer. Orotom, is that his orc name? This orc sends his septums to support the great historical tales. Don't go using it for any elfin trickery. My hammer and blade are always for sale. For King and... Wait, it's for Covenant. Come on now, that's the old one. For King and Covenant. May your queen sit on a tack.
Ouch. Burn.
Martin Hirschner returns.
Dragonborn.
He says, Tamriel Trading Company, a DC guild focusing on RP and trade. Visit their site for information on their guild's lore, what gods they worship, as well as up-to-date news on the guild. Visit and sign up today at TamrielTradingCompany.com. And they would also like me to give a shout out to their Star Citizen Guild.
Oh, cool.
Which is going to be a pirate guild. Arr. For the long lost planet. You can visit them at robertsspaceindustries.com/orgs/Arcanian.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Christopher Hughes, new donor, says, Greetings, ShoddyCast. It is I, the Sweet Roll Bandit. I've been watching for a long time now, but never got around to donating, so here is the first of hopefully many donations. P.S. I heard that Aeryn disappeared before being crowned queen. She used filthy elf magic to teleport to Skyra, where she had a kinky affair with Jorun. I don't know how much of this is true, but my king has requested she return his undergarments. Thanks.
That's some serious fanfic.
Martin Olela. That was probably so bad. Baron Trigga, I can say that. Here, I'm not used to begging. Oh, this is an Argonian.
Oh, Argonian
I'm not
speak.
used to begging. Warm bloods, but please, ass. I can't do it. As proud Argonian, I tried. As proud Argonian shop. Wait, what? As proud Argonian shop using that terrible, outdated Argonian skin videos. I don't know what he's talking about. From crafting presentation, it makes my scales itch. Else I'll bite your heads off. For the mighty kingdom of Argonia.
For the mighty kingdom of Argonia.
Yeah, that's what, what's his name used to say. The Dark Brotherhood, I think.
Okay, well, thank you. Jonathan Dalton says, Keep up the good work. I hope you guys do a lore video for the plot of Daggerfall soon. Cheers from Grigolton.
You know, honestly, I don't know if I want to do any lore videos that are specific to the Elder Scrolls Online universe
there
just
isn't
yet.
much?
Well, right now, yeah, we don't really... Once we have access to all the in-game books and stuff and really can make an educated video, that's when we'll tackle it.
Totally makes sense. David Thomas here says, Hey, ShoddyCast, just like to say keep up the good work. Loving the episodes and lore series. Just like to add to my previous post that I'm also a sorcerer healer. I will be using a staff and nothing else, because magic rules over all. Perry Roberts says, Andrew Lightfoot, I am calling you out. How dare you betray our beloved King Emmerich? It was your job to help me spread the truth of our covenant. Do not let Kyle and Josh trick you with the promise of and hope their queen may give. It is a lie. You must hold fast. It is not too late to return to the covenant. We will welcome you back with open arms for King and Covenant. Jacob Bunch, new donor here, says, Hey guys, I love what you do with the lore videos, so I thought I'd leave you a little coin purse of septims to help you along. I love the Elder Scrolls games, so when a friend showed me your channel, it was like I died and went to Sovngarde. I've read up on some of it before, but experienced the lore in video formats is so much cooler than reading it on the ES Wiki. So thanks for all the hard work you put into your videos. I look forward to fighting with you, or maybe against you, on the battlefield of Cyrodiil come 4/4/14. David Earls, new donor here, says, How's it, guys? What is that, like Ebonics or something? Long-time listener, etc. I just wanted to hit you guys up and let you know I heard that you might be in the market for a great blacksmith enchanter. Well, if I could only get access to one of the shoddy guilds, I would be more than happy to be. Cruel Blood, new donor, says, Hi, I have been a follower of the Elder Scrolls series and the new Fallout series for quite some time, and I would like to say that I love your work and also would like you to consider my name in the pot for being an officer of the guild. Oh, look, he's putting his guild resume here in the thing.
You might want to make me an officer, and here's some septims for you.
Yes, but he says, I have sent my resume to you. Keep up the great work. And by the way,
For the pause for effect, Queen!
Lovely. Grithin Thanatosian. That is like the most awesome last name ever. Thanatosian.
Thanatosian.
Probably said it wrong, but yeah, it's cool anyways. The ShoddyCast channel has done marvelous work with all of its lore videos and ESO weeklies. Queen Erin would be very pleased. Will is a trait that is very strong with Josh and Kyle, as they are able to take the time to do these shows with the audience which the audience really appreciates. Suffer they do when you don't like their videos, so please do. Now, without counting this sentence, please read the first word of every sentence before this one aloud, which is the Queen will suffer.
Wow, like snuck it in there. Interesting.
Oh boy.
Gosh, your trickery.
Wesley Powell, new donor here, says Tharm de Kilnsey is a oh, this is another Tharm de Kilnsey person. Is a PC hardcore Ebon Heart Pact guild, PvP guild that puts a huge emphasis on the strategy and coordination. Most of our members are over 17. All of them are mature. Sure. Well, they have to be, right, to play this game because it's rated M for mature.
That's right.
All right. And all of our members are hardcore Elder Scrolls fans and eager to enjoy the new game. So come and join the fun. You can find us at tharmdekilnsey.engine.com. And of course, Death to the Queen.
I only wish that were true, though. Like, to play a mature game, you were mature. Yeah.
Right. Reggie Roden here. Hello, ShoddyCast. This is Tyrone Redguard. I can't talk like him. Even though I'm very proud of my Redguard heritage, I would like to announce that I will be reverting back to the first race I ever played in Arena, the Wood Elf. What? So that I may join you guys online in our naked shenanigans. Peace, Tyrone the Redguard.
Well, that's awesome, and thank you, Tyrone the Redguard. I just find it so interesting that, Kyle, you're like... your ethnic urban voice is Fat Albert.
Shut up!
That's what it sounds
Was not. Like. Well, now he's Tyrone the Wood Elf. I guess we need to change that. Stephen Kern, there's so many consonants at the end of your name. Kerndl. I make a few bucks off of a mobile game I played, so I thought I'd use the proceeds to support the best and most consistent TES lore series. And since I always play a Bossmer in TES, I'll be fighting for the Aldmeri Dominion. Oh, I guess that's your go.
For the... Wait for it. Queen!
I'm not sure if you've already discussed this before, but do you think we'll get to see the rare Khajiit forms in ESO? Well, did it say something about helping us pick a Khajiit main?
Yeah, pick the main.
So, possibly.
I mean, if we're freaking in elsewhere at all, yes, we need to see the other forms of Khajiit.
Right? Next one here is from Beal McGrewer.
McGrewer! Stupid. It's
stupid.
So stupid.
Greetings.
How is he still donating?
I don't know. Greetings. This is Kolak Stonefist, the Merc with a smirk. Wink. Is it fair that I ask a question and a promotional message? If not, too bad. I'm asking anyway. How do you think specialized guilds will fare versus those that do everything guilds? Death to the racist queen and for king and covenant. Blah, blah, blah. Kolak Stonefist says you must join my guild Mercenari per Il Rey something. The Mercenary Role-Playing Guild.
Nice.
So what was the question? How do you think specialized guilds will fare? Depends on what they're specializing in, I guess. I mean, those that specialize in everything aren't going to be as good at specific things that those that do specialize in will do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that absolutely.
So like jack of all
sense.
trades versus a person that has one thing and does it the best.
I think specialized guilds will always fare very well.
On what they specialize in, yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas Koch.
Dragonborn.
Both series are fantastic. Since I had not donated to the Fallout lore series yet, I decided it needed some love. Quick question, has anyone commented on how long the main quest will take?
Oh.
Obviously there will be people who complete it in 3 days, but for the casual gamer like me, this could give the developer some time before they have to get serious about endgame content. Anyways, great show, and...
For the Queen!
Lovely. And that is it for the sponsors for this week. If you'd like to donate to the ShoddyCast, head on over to ShoddyCast.com. You'll see a donation button on the right-hand side of the screen. If you leave a...
You're trying to talk as quickly as possible.
If you leave $10 or more, You can leave a promotional message for us to butcher through as we did today.
There you go. Yes, any and all septums and or bottle caps donated to the ShoddyCast channel go right back into the ShoddyCast channel for improving existing shows or possibly improving new shows that aren't even released yet. Ooh. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think you've reached the end of this episode of ESO Weekly, collective sigh of relief. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like this video and share it with everyone.
you know.
I don't appreciate that. Tune in on Friday for the next installment of the Elder Scrolls lore series. Yes, this is the last part of the Divine Tribunal. Yes, we're going to learn about the fall of the Tribunal in Red Year, the year that saw Morrowind drowning in its own blood. So tune in for that. That'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, I've been Josh.
And I'm Kyle.
We'll catch you later.
Boy.